Hello, here's the video guide for your next assignment. We are working on comparing and contrasting these three essays that we've recently read and discussed about men. And so you will need to open up the compare and contrast folders, and you should have already read the Turkeys in the Kitchen by Dave Barry, Just Walk On By, Black Men in Public Space by Brent Staples, and The Men We Carry in Our Minds by Scott Russell Sanders. And you should have also responded on the discussion board and tried to come up with some common themes or elements, social issues that these three pieces have. And so once you've done that, you're going to use this graph template to introduce and analyze the quotations. And there are two options for this assignment. You have the they say, I say, example 1 or example 2. I just want to show you real quickly what those look like. So I can open it up. Okay, this is example 2. And for example 2, you will select 3 separate topics, and you will compare and contrast the 3 separate topics in all of the men essays. And so some suggestions are you can examine the idea of labels and stereotypes, how men receive labels and are stereotyped based on gender or race. You could also examine relationships. How do men form their relationships between women, their wives, their children, their fathers, or society. Another topic that applies to all 3 essays would be identity. How do men form their identities? And so there's more than that. There's several different topics you can explore. But if you decide to go this route, you would have to find 3, and you would compare these 3 topics from all 3 essays. And ultimately, when you compose your next essay, this would be a body paragraph, and this would be a body paragraph, and then this would be a body paragraph. So you would have a body paragraph about each topic. Another way to do this, it says example 1, is you pick one topic. And so, for example, I could just explore labels. And I would talk about the labels that exist in Turkeys in the Kitchen, and the labels that exist in The Men We Carry in Our Minds, and the labels that are in Just Walk On By. Okay, so you just have one topic to explore. Either way is fine. It doesn't matter. It's just what works best for you. Now, this graphic organizer will help you get your evidence organized. And so you would open it up and download it, and then let's just say I'm going to talk about labels. Let's pretend I'm going to write my essay on labels. Labels / stereotypes. They're the same thing, except stereotypes have this, I guess, a stronger negative connotation. And what you do right here is you copy the text from Turkeys in the Kitchen that discuss any piece of the text that discusses labels. Okay, and here's an example right here. Here's the original quotation. The men are scum when it comes to helping out in the kitchen. So let's pretend that I've read that essay, which I have, but for the first time, and I like this quotation. And so I will put it right here. That's my quotation. Men are still basically scum when it comes to helping out in the kitchen. That is from Turkeys in the Kitchen on page 72. Now here's the challenging part, is right here. You have to introduce the quote, explain the quotation, and then you either agree with what Barry is saying, you disagree with what he is saying, or you both. You agree to a certain extent. And here's the example right here. And so I'm just going to put this here just to show you. Now, how did I do this? This is why you need this graph template right here. These are so useful for analyzing evidence from writing. Now you don't want to copy this exactly word for word. These are templates, they're suggestions. And so if you look at this first sentence here in my embedded quotation, it says, as Barry describes the Thanksgiving day in his home, he argues that men are basically scum when working in the kitchen. Barry, page 72, period. I used this quotation, this little template right here, as the prominent I just changed it. I'm not going to write this exactly over and over again because then my essay would be repetitive. Okay, and then the next sentence should be, after you introduce the quotation, you have to explain the quotation. So that should be your second sentence. And here's what I use. I wrote, in making this observation, Barry urges us to accept an outdated view that men are incompetent oafs in the domestic realm, and moreover, they create more work for their wives when they enter a kitchen. That is my explanation. And basically, I copied this right here. I used that template as a guide. I just changed the wording. In making this comment, I changed it to making this observation. Okay, and then the final sentence, it will be 3 sentences minimum, is this. Okay, this is where I agree, disagree, or both. And let's pull the template back up so you can see it right here. I agreed and disagreed simultaneously. And so if you look right here, though I concede that blank, I still insist blank. And so I wrote, though I concede that Barry's gender assumptions may hold some weight with older generations and perhaps even certain cultures, he fails to acknowledge how men's roles in today's society have drastically changed. And so that is me agreeing to a certain extent and explaining why he's wrong. Okay, so for each one of these, you will have your quotation here with the page number, and then here you will have a minimum of 3 sentences. The first sentence, if you look at the template one more time, the first sentence introduces the quotation, the second sentence explains the quotation, and the third sentence you have 3 options. You're either going to disagree with reasons, you're going to agree with a difference, or you're going to agree and disagree simultaneously. Okay? At some point you will need to edit out some of the repetitive sentences when you write your essay, but for this assignment you will just fill in this graphic organizer, all 9 squares or 9 rows here. Okay? And that's it.